Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. John here from Wild Boar Cycling. I've just got to chalk up that last week's episode as an epic fail. I spent a lot of time talking about the new Detroit steel bike I got for a song and a dance and how I was going to make it look a little bit retro. Well, I got in that process and man, you know what I learned? I am really bad at sewing up a leather bar tape. All right, so sit back and I'll show you what I messed up and then my new direction I'm taking with this thing. Enjoy, and I hope you learned something from it too. Okay, so folks here, remember last week I had, talked to you about my plan for making this, steel bicycle frame look kind of old school with some leather accents. Well, I went and I tried to put that sew-on leather bar wrap on, and you can watch what happened here. That clearly did not go my way, and I just couldn't live with it. So what I decided to do, and that's just all my fault, that I don't have any experience at all trying to sew on anything leather. I decided, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just tear everything apart and then pull off the drop bars that were on it, and I'm gonna put some bullhorn bars on it to kind of make it look like an old school messenger bike, maybe kind of feel to it. But to incorporate the brakes, because it's a single speed, I went and found some of these front end, well, these are from Amazon, front end brake levers that I'm gonna put up on the end of those. So let's just take a look over here what I found and where I'm gonna go with this, and we'll step back and see how it looks when I get this thing all buttoned up today. So here's what I found at our local Community Bikes in one of their parts bins. This is a bullhorn thing that maybe it was on a time trial bike or something like that. But I thought that is going to look really awesome. And then I found these bar end brake levers that kind of just slide right in here. Boom, like that. And then I'm gonna still stay with the leather concept, but instead of trying to sew on the leather bar wrap, I'm gonna use more of a coil, like I have a lot of experience with, and I think that's gonna just add plenty of brown up front. It's gonna give it that old school feel, plus be really functional up front here with those front end brake levers. Cool. Well, let's step back and let's see how this goes when I'm gonna have to change some of these cables out. Clearly, they're not gonna be long enough and I wanna redo them. Different type of mechanism that goes in here on these. I need a barrel on the end of these instead of the round ball that was on the other one. Okay, let's see how this goes. So the old brake housing is just a little too short, and when I sized it up on here, even though it's about a similar distance, it seemed to me there was just a little bit too much bind in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a new piece of brake cable housing on there just to make sure everything's nice and tidy when I finally get it all buttoned up. Using a little bit of electrical tape just to hold that cable in place while I mess around with it here and make sure I got it the right length and it's not gonna bind when I want to go use the brakes. Gonna tuck the cable into that groove that's already in the handlebars, and I think I'm gonna have enough room now to do that. Looks good. Okay, so I've got the new brake cable housing in place and the new brake cables, and I've got these front brake levers in place. I'm ready now to start thinking about the bar wrap. Let me show you what I intend to put on here. There's so many videos out there on YouTube about bar wrap. I'm not gonna waste your time doing all that with y'all, but I think it's gonna look really good, but I do want to show you what this is gonna look like. So I am gonna use some leather bar wrap on here, but instead of trying to do this sew-on thing, I'm just gonna use the coil that I'm so familiar with. Now this is the same company that I got the sew up from. And once again, that sew up stuff was perfect. It was the total my operator error. I just didn't have any experience at all sewing leather. So like this color, I think it's gonna look really good on the bike. Let's turn over here and take a peek at it. So as you can see, this is a really typical style bar wrap. And I'm gonna play with this and make sure I get the sides and the lines all straight and, you know, lined up. But I think this is gonna look really good when I get it all tied together here. I'm gonna put a little bit of water on it to make sure that the leather molds to where I want it to be. But I think this is a whole lot cleaner look than what I was trying to do before. I think it's gonna be great. Cool. I'll show you when I get it all wrapped around here. Okay, so I just finished one side of this, and this is much more of the look that I was going for. Wow, a couple tricks I did with this time. I did not soak it, the piece of leather, in water. All I did was I took my spray bottle and just made it a little bit moist, and it seemed to really help me during that wrapping process. I kind of wish maybe I had done that before, but I really like how this has turned out. I left enough space in here. I'm gonna put my bell in this place so I can have it to, when I'm out with the group little taco rides on Tuesday. Wow, so let me go ahead and keep this going, and I'm gonna do that other side and kind of try to wrap this thing all up today. Well, folks, this is more like what I was looking for. I just got this all buttoned up now. I got the brakes adjusted, got everything put on, and so let's take a good close-up look at how this all turned out on this Detroit Bike C-Type bicycle that I got for a song and a dance, and just did a little bit of bling to it to make it kind of look old school. All right, let's take one more look at how this turned out here in the daylight. Super happy with the whole look of it. We'll start up front with that leather bar wrap from Walnut Studio. I'll put the link in the bottom. And I got these bar end shifters, and they were just something inexpensive off Amazon, but I think it just keeps the top bar nice and clean. And I was able to put my little bell right here. Nice touch. I do think what sets this bike apart is, you know, how that metal badge sits here on the front. Detroit Bikes. Back here, the C-Type bike. And of course, this is bike number 463. And I understand they only made about 1,000 of these. Finally, that Brooks saddle, the B17. What a great addition to this whole look. The wheels and tires, I kept the wheels the same. No sense in messing with that. They were all really pretty true. I only had to tweak it a little bit. These are the Maxxis Refuse tan wall tires. And I think with the tan wall and the honey color saddle and the honey handlebar wrap, it's just a really great look for this bike. Didn't have to do too much cleanup work on this. You know, the whole drivetrain was pretty awesome. It just took off a couple of sections of rust from it having sat around for a while, but excited to take this out in a while, out on a ride here in a little bit. And you can see I put a little bling on here with these valve cap covers. Those wheels may change over time, but right now it's all ready to go. Should be a fun ride. All right, folks, well, that's a wrap on the steel bike improvement plan. Trying to make it a little more old school. It's such a beautiful frame. I wanted to make sure I treated it respectfully, and gosh, it just turned out great. And sometimes I think you gotta fail at something to have something turn out even better. And I am really tickled to death with how these bullhorn handlebars turned out. And again, the bar tape and the bar wrap I tried, you know, that's from that same company. This is from Walnut. You can find them on Etsy. And if you look really carefully on the interweb, you can find them too. Super folks, I really like the product. And if I was a better leather worker, I could have probably made that sew-on work, but as it turns out, I'm thinking this is a better look than what I had with those drop bars. Well, okay, folks, that's a wrap, and I hope you enjoyed this. Hope it was helpful and you learned from my epic fail. In the meantime, go out and ride, have some fun, and of course, Keep the rubber side down. Oh, but don't do any of that, folks, until you smash that like, subscribe, and notify button. All right. Bye, y'all. See you next time.